Good evening. How are we all doing today then? It's really hard. Can I get that to cache or something? I guess we could do this calculation earlier. We do that and we go darker. Width MacLeod plus X. Color is equal to so then we can do it like that. And then we can go color equals texture dot darker pigment. Well, not quite, but texture dot width multiplied by that plus text x like that. And we'll go up here and then over here. Like that. And then this bit can go down here. Maybe that will help speed. That'll speed things up a tiny bit. Just because we don't have to pre-compute that every time now. Well, recompute that every time. I mean, it does, so don't lie to me. No, it's not a function, it's like that. Oh, that's interesting. It's not supposed to do that. Any different? That's a bit odd. Maybe? No, let's scrap it, this isn't working. Never mind. That's better. I wonder if it's running slower just because I'm streaming as well. If there are any other particular optimizations I could do. I suppose I don't have to do that every frame. Or at least I don't have to do that every time I draw, because it doesn't change. So let's put that somewhere sensible. Like... oh, this took a while. I suppose it would go here-ish. Sprite update. It's a small thing, but once you have larger stuff, it'll be more important. What else could I potentially pre-compute? Am I doing any strange memory allocations or something that might be slowing us down? I tried this one before, but it might not help too much. Dirty equals true. that. I guess you can't do it that way. It's a marginal improvement. Not much though. But it's more manageable. I think if I can get it to stay around 12, 13 frames per second, I'd be happy. So I have this P get in here, but it might be better if I just did that instead. And just went sprite texture 0. That. Because memory access like this is marginally faster than having to do function calls and lookups, I reckon. If the floor and ceiling textures were always the same size, I wouldn't have to do this recomputation as well. That'd be kind of nice, but it's not the end of the world. And these are all micro optimizations anyway, so there's only so much of benefit we can really get from these, but because a lot of these are called every frame, the hope is that they'll help. Plus I have to remember that we do not have like an optimizing compiler doing the smoothing out of things for us, so there's value in doing manual steps for this sort of thing. guess this would be sprite.width. Which is fine, I guess, for now. See how that goes. Just correct those. And then probably do texture. This can just be a floor all the time. Ugh. Maybe that should be round all the time. No, just I mean it's smoother, so that's nice. One thing at a time. Okay. Floor text. Those distinctly different. It should always be like that. I mean, oh, I guess there's a -1 that should be in here. So I'm looking up the texture here a lot. So this should be texture, sprite.textures, 0. And then this can just be that. And that. And then that one is the same. That's just texture.width. I should stop that crashing real quick. That's so strange though. Am I just like messing up the direction of things? Should that be X and Y then? No, probably not. Texture. Pretty sure that it would go row by row across. So why am I hitting issues with this? Compared to normal. Look at the right file, please. That one does that bit. Like that clearly needs something. So weird. Hey, werewolf. Good evening. How are you doing? Yeah, not too bad, although we're in a bit of a weird position at the moment where things are not behaving the way they should be, so classic, I suppose. Just trying to figure out what's causing my graphical glitches at the moment, because for some reason this is not matching the mental model in my head. Ah, nice. Holidays are good. It's always nice to have a holiday. Doing anything in particular to pass the time? Don't really want to make that call directly there. Playing games, writing a bit. Oh, D&D, very cool. Which edition? Oh, just position my legs. Ow. It's not worth it. I don't think it's particularly worth inventing your own RPG system, you know? 5th edition is actually really good and fairly versatile, so I wouldn't complain. think I just did that twice without meaning to. Through 12. That one. Yeah, that's a thing that can happen. I mean, there are other systems that allow a more roleplay heavy interaction if that's what you're really looking for. I mean, you can also emphasize a more role-playing bend on your game with the kind of things that you do. So there are some systems that are probably better for it than others. That's better. Back to normal. And that did tick up the speed a little bit, so that's something. If I'm very careful with how this is coded, it'll actually still be fine and passable. I suppose I could cheat as well and do the other thing, but I'd rather keep it at this size if I can. So yeah, well, D&D has a surprising amount of social impact stuff. Yeah, that's fair. It really depends on the kind of game you're playing as well. You can do all kinds of things with it. It's flexible in that way. If you want to have a really roleplay heavy game and like focus on the politics of a session or of your world, you can do that. You can do all sorts. Make it your own. There's some good stuff for that actually. If you want to have like people owning property and involving themselves in the land, I think there's a few good third-party books for it. Okay, so I'm running a game at the moment, on and off, and where the players are, there's no real way for them to do a combat because the police there is so strict that if anything that would have caused a combat has probably been dealt with already. So, hi there, Ruby. How's it going? Just looking at potentially optimizing a few things here just to try and get the frame rate up a little bit more. Oof, too many releases on one day. Oh dear. There's always a lot of pressure on releasing stuff, even if it's something really minor. So I feel that. I understand how that goes. Even with Dome releases and things, I'm always like, ooh, even though it does not constitute that much stress, or does not require or justify that much stress. So. Well, best of the luck with it. Well, that was a horrible sentence, sorry. Best of luck with it. I hope that it's been fine. I hope that it gets sorted if it hasn't been already. And that it's smooth sailing from here. problem is that this whole code base was pulled in from C, which is obviously much faster, easier to optimize because of the compiler doing half the work, and it's got a lot of type stuff that actually doesn't get used well. So I have all these floors and ceilings and rounding to do, which adds to the load. But maybe I can reduce the amount of extra work I'm doing somehow. Like right position doesn't actually change at any point here, so that can go there. I don't have to keep doing it every time. That stuff's all dependent, so I can't mess with that though. This stuff will change eventually. But again, I don't think I can really mess with it, because it's all pretty unique. I tried to pre-compute this already and it didn't work, so not sure what's up with that at the moment, but it's fine. That's per sprite, that's per sprite. Camera and direction, that never changes. Finally got a bit of time to do some tasks. Yay for upstreaming things. I think it does, which is an unfortunate design choice. I need to change how color works, so that those can be done separately. As in, RGB aren't mutable, colors aren't mutable in Dome at the moment, so I should change that, to be honest, so that I don't have to create new instances of colors every time. Oh, I could do that now. That'd be a... it's because, well, it depends on what you're... The thing is that it's pulling from a texture. So there's texture data here from images, and so it has to take that image. It takes the color from the texture and then modifies the brightness of it. So I don't think there's an easy way to do that directly. Although, that's not entirely true. We could do some pre-calculation on that, now that I think about it. Let me come back to that one for a moment. In a moment, I just want to finish putting things out from down here. Yeah, something like that. I was looking at it, actually. I mean, I tried a couple of different things at the start of the stream, and it just broke stuff. So clearly I've got something wrong with the mental model in my head. I think the rest of this can't be messed with, which is unfortunate. Okay, just have a quick look at how that's doing. This does not run very well in Dome. It really isn't built for this. It looks like it's running well because of how the game loop is structured, but it does definitely have issues. Like the doors are meant to be animated, and that doesn't happen. So So it does more work when you're close to things. What's up with that? I have no way of profiling this either, which is really annoying. It's much smoother over here. Like, it moves, like you can move around, it's just working way harder than it should be to do things. Right, let's try and do color stuff. So this one has basically fetched a color. Let's try this again real quick. So we've got darker. Oh, actually, I don't even need to do anything extra. I can literally just go color in data because it's a list. And then yoink that. And then the alpha is just that one. And that's darker. Yeah, so what should happen here? We get each color as it comes in, so we get the same order going out again. I suppose you could do a map here instead, but because you could do, well, no, it's fine, it's fine. I don't need to mess with it like that. It's okay. And then this one can just be color is equal to texture.pget dark text x text y. Do that. And then you just pick the right one based on the walls. Reckon this has broken something? I think it'll have broken something. Yeah, okay. That one's not terrible because I've just got that. No, it didn't. Seems alright. Let's go around the corner. That seems okay. This does feel like it's running marginally faster. But the frame rate still tanks. The MSPF? Yeah, something's gone wrong. Oh, I think that is, do you mean the units display on that screen? Oh, I don't do milliseconds. It's frames per second. I don't have any. there's not a lot of stuff that does performance checking because I don't normally care about performance. So yeah. I'm not experienced enough at doing performance type things for games to know what is useful, unfortunately. Normally I don't have to deal with it. Why is it working so hard when it gets close to the wall? Okay. It goes in draw, right? So we do I actually don't remember how the RAN system does this. RAN clock, system clock. Yeah. What's that? And then start print. So that I can see at the bottom, just double check the units. Change the number of seconds, including fractional seconds. A number of seconds? That's not helpful. That's at the bottom of the screen now, at least, so we can see sort of how we're doing. Yeah, probably. See, it goes up when I'm hanging out in front of the wall. I have no idea why. Over here it's almost passable. Yeah. To be honest, I just want to get to about 15 frames a second. It runs just fine at 15 or so. So I don't have to nudge it too far, I don't think, if I can figure out what's slowing us down. Yeah. is. The thing is that if you're right next to the wall, I feel like it would take less time to do all the raycasts and drawing. So why does it end up taking longer? Let's turn that one off for the moment. I see. So you can kind of narrow down the hot block. That makes sense. Okay. So I suppose to do that, the best thing to do is to say var ms up here, and then var ms. I don't need this one there. I can just put that wherever I like now. So let's look at the let's head up to where floors are drawn and look at that first. This bit. Right, so just drawing the floor is most of my chunk time. Fantastic. So I guess that could be a problem. If you're right up close to something, maybe drawing the floors is a waste. It's difficult because of the order of things. You'd have to, well, yeah, you have to do like a full sweep of the buffer. It's a mess. It does, because they're drawn on the background. It basically, yeah, it paints the whole back screen and then draws the wall on top, which is not smart, but it looks fine. There's not an easy way of fixing that though, because it has to do it in that order. You have to, well, maybe. Okay, so what if we break this up very slightly and we do this in 2 parts? Could we do that? Good call. Good call. That's a good point. Okay. So zero. Actually, that doesn't really work because it goes over the display pixel field, so it only ever does do each scan line once for the floors at least. You might do that differently elsewhere. But yeah, it basically does draw. It draws the floor as scan lines, so that one is already fine. Yeah. Oh. I guess it doesn't. I see what you're saying. Let me Oh, my brain is totally not yeah, it's not helpful like that because it draws symmetrically to the center. It's just slow. That's the problem. It's just slow. Oh, hold on though. I can improve the calculation a little bit though. D X. That. Now that I think about it, all of that can actually. Oh no, because that's unique to this location. Okay. Measure the chunks written there. How can I measure chunks in a loop? I suppose you could like do some fancy graphical display or something, but averages. Could do. I'd have to go look up the rolling averages thing. Oh yeah. So what's that? Wow, yeah. If I put those, yeah, if I put those there, I can just move them around. Like a start. And then there. that, I guess. And then that's the number of loops that should run. For the outer loop anyway. Like that. And we'll just save that one for now. Which I thought I did the times 1,000. See? Unless I need to do it again, or have I just messed up an order of operations somewhere? Okay. Fold that up to here. Well, that bit's not taking much time at all then. Yeah. It's all in the inner loop. And okay, so pull this down then to here. And pull this one to there, to that. Like that. Because there's canvas width for the X, so it has to, you have to average over all the possible iterations, I guess. Yeah, fair. I don't think I've done that right anyway. It feels off. That should be the same. Yeah. So why is that number so small? Is it just not? I suppose it's the average of the whole loop, isn't it? Rather than the... Well, yeah, it's the average run of each block versus the total time for each thing. So each individual one is small, but there are just so many by volume that it ends up being like that. I guess. Does that sound about right? Fair enough. Yeah. I'll be honest, this allocation, well, did that. I mean, these are tiny, stupid things, but that doesn't actually have to be there at all. Welcome back, Werewolf. Don't worry, I'm just learning how to profile things. Well, I'm increasing it once for every iteration of this inner loop, so it should be... Because it counts the total number. Yeah, cool. Oof, that's alright then. It could just be because the P setting is slow. That could be it. Chances are, if I pull this down to here, most of the work will be in this block. I think that's about right. So I would expect that to be half the work. Yeah, it's the canvas. Just writing to the damn canvas is slow. Because it has to run all the way through the foreign method chain. So what we do is have an extra frame buffer, I think. So that we're writing to an in-memory frame buffer, and then... Well, it is though, because the foreign P set has got things to check for alpha and stuff, so it has to overlay, and there's a lot of extra decisions in there. So it's not just straight overwriting. No, I know. It's not Ren that's the problem, it's Dome's canvas that's the problem. It's because there's a lot of extra stuff in the chain. In my code. So if I throw in a canvas buffer, then we're probably going to be fine. Or at least it'll improve things. Because then I can basically work with that and then stream it at the end. Canvas, is it stop? What's the damn constructor called? Filled, there we are. I almost never use it, except here, so... Well, actually that can just be color.none, it doesn't have to be a new one every time. And This is actually in the wrong place anyway, because it's... Gotta go here. Yep. No, the color, well, yeah, that is true. That is true. Oop. So now everywhere that I do canvas.pset, I should actually be doing the y value multiplied by the canvas width plus the x value to be c. Yeah, I don't. That's. I think that's why Dome's color type is a immutable. Is just to prevent you accidentally messing with the core palette types colors. Right. So before I go whole hog and do this on the entire thing, I'm going to just move the well, put this back up here. Do that. 4, 1, 0, canvas.height. And this will just flip the canvas for me. Canvas.pset. X, Y, color. And C equals that. I can't tell if that's actually faster now, so I need to do the local. I think that made it worse, didn't it? Yeah, it feels like it made it worse. It did. Ugh, what? I'm not like accidentally flipping the canvas. Oh, let me. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's worse now. I'm just checking that I didn't like break the graphics at the same time that I did that. Okay. Ooh, that's trippy. Ship it. That seems to be working way harder now. Although I suppose it's because I'm sort of overwriting twice still. Like this bit did get slower, did get faster. If I just do this everywhere, then we can see the full effect a bit better. So let me do that. This one set. I mean, that's basically what we're going for, is it's basically going to write the whole graphical data out at once. It's just because of the way that Raycaster engines like this work, it kind of does a bunch of scans and stuff. So there's not really a batching process in the way that you'd have in a 3D engine, in a true 3D engine. For whatever reason, this one's not an integer. x should always be an integer, it's just the y is calculated weirdly. Ah. What happened to the graphics there? I think that's probably meant to be round. It's still not quite right. And to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's made it any better, so. I don't know why it's doing that or how it doesn't normally happen. Ugh, I hate this. What I need is like some way of rearranging how these things are all drawn. But there's no smooth way of doing that. Let's just do that. And just profile the flip. And the flip's doing a lot of work already, so that's fun. I don't know why it's doing that. Nope. it's like just overshooting or something. Like these are probably weird graphical glitches. From something. Take those out of there. There's not really any benefit to doing it like that, but canvas start. Well, that's what it's doing. That's what I've just been doing for the last 10 minutes or so. This thing here means that I've got a list in memory that is the frame buffer, which it then writes to the canvas that is Dome's canvas in one go. So that in theory the calls are cheaper, but it's not actually helping, as far as I can tell, because it's causing graphical glitches, bizarrely. I'm not sure why. Ugh. It's out of my head. Actually, there is something we can do, now that I think about it. Because I don't actually have to write directly to the canvas. I can write to an image. Because images can now be written to directly, I could feasibly do that instead. and I don't think it does the same alpha checks, so it's a marginal improvement. Because it can blit rather than do it through the Ren API. XY color. And then we can basically go canvas.call canvas 0, 0. Get rid of that. That feels better. How are we doing on frame rate? 11. Not perfect, but better. We can at least move around again. Okay. That's a start. Still getting that graphical glitching though. It's not super clear why. Because they didn't actually change anything about that. Did I do something weird in here, maybe? Functionally, I don't think I did. I'm just considering that. Given that you're no longer doing this manually, are there redundant operations you can eliminate? I don't think so. I think that we're actually pretty much doing only the things we actually need to be doing. I mean, we're still overscanning the entire display a couple times, but it's faster now to do that than it was, so... I suppose you'd have to... Potentially you could do it in layers and then overlap them, but that might just be more work, so I'm probably not going to do that. No, I don't think that I'm drawing, or that I can make any mathematical improvements operation-wise. Yeah, it's using Wolfenstein as inspiration. I mean, I'm following a tutorial as well. There's an implementation tutorial for this sort of raycaster that Wolfenstein used. The ceiling and floor makes it a bit extra fancy, but I don't technically have to have them. I could turn them off if I wanted. It's just very difficult to change the amount of overscan because of the order of operations, because you end up drawing... You draw the background first, the floor and ceiling, because at this point you need to... Because it's at the back, it's in front of it, it's behind everything else. Then you figure out the walls, how far away is everything, and then you draw that on top, and then after that you can draw in the sprites. And then we do some things to make sure that we don't draw the sprites extra. So I don't think there's anything else I can do there. Unless I can do... I don't know, maybe I can do something. Let me think about it for a I need to read through this code again. Horizontal distance from the camera to the floor for the current row. Not that that's actually very helpful. Let's just do that and see what happens. No, I should probably stop printing. That feels about the same. What the hell's happening with the sprite drawing, though? Just realised that I didn't actually finish a implementation detail. Probably isn't helping at all then, when I think about it. Yeah, that's... Sorry, not really getting my brain to do this at all right. Let's just put this back up here. Right, so obviously the closer you are to stuff, the more of that thing it has to draw, which means it takes longer doing the scan lines and the p-sets and things. So that makes some amount of sense. And there's not really any way of avoiding that. Not only that, but it has to make the repeated calls to fetch things. What changed here? Seemingly nothing changed here. Although I did move the determinant, which should have been fine. Does the sorting of sprites actually matter? See you in a bit. Um, if the the color back. Color dot A is not equal to 0. We'll do that. That's better. Yeah, it was just doing something strange with the blank values. The frame rate still tanks when I get up close to things like that, but there's really only so much I can do. If I just do that. And then go like that. But I can't do the standard CLS, I have to do statics. Preset xy color dot none. That's yes. Oh, it's not quite doing it. Ah, that's better. Right, so without drawing the flaws, we get to a passable frame rate. So the question is, can I live with that? I It's a shame. It's a real shame. But I guess Dome might just not be able to cope with it. It's interesting though, what the variation is. I wonder as well if running OBS in the background messes with the ability of the machine of Dome to keep up. But no good way to test that right now. I've not actually played Wolfenstein, so I don't know how close to the wall it actually lets you get. But maybe if you just stop people getting so close, it would be better. I don't know. I'd have to play it and find out. "22 frames a second. I can work with that. Yeah, that's... Ugh, I don't want to do it. But we might just have... Oh, damn it. Let's do that for the moment. If y is greater than height of 2. This should give it a two-tone thing. Yeah. It's a real disappointment because the ceiling and floor really gives it a thing. Ceiling. Let's do this. floor ceiling. Right, so just having one of them around does tank things. Hmm. Yes, I need to also do this. Because that would be unnecessary work otherwise. No, not quite. Maybe we can cope with that. It does feel marginally better. Not this, and not this. Then don't draw the background. I might just be able to call this doable. I also need to try it when I'm not streaming. Hmm. Um, Tricky. I'll have to look into that one later. It's fine for now, I think. Um, if either of those are true, but not both of them, there we go. See, that almost seems okay. Could always do this should slow things down. Which is pretty horrific, if I'm honest. Lockstep is bad for this particular instance. Well, I think that we have probably reached the limits of what we can do with optimization. So I'm probably going to call this one here. Thank you everybody who came by. A lot of messy optimization. I'm disappointed I didn't really get to do any of the things I wanted to do on this stream, but it was important that we try and get as much out of this as we can. I mean, it sucks a lot that we can't do ceilings and floors without extra settings, but I suppose you can make that optional. don't think that we can really do much else. Invite center Y. Hey, welcome back. I'm nearly done, I think, for today. I was just playing around with things. So, well, yeah, so if you don't draw the ceiling or the floor at all, and you just use a static shading like this, it actually runs at a decent speed. So I might just make the floors and ceilings optional. I've just thought of something interesting. What I wanted to do here actually was I've just realized something, which is that if you move diagonally, you actually move faster, because I'm not normalizing the distance at which you can move. So this should actually not care how fast your CPU is. The way that Dome's game loop is written means that the physics simulation should update in fixed increments, regardless of how fast it can draw, which is why, even with a crappy frame rate, it does still move at a decent speed and doesn't just lock up. I put a lot of work into Dome's game loop, actually, to make that work. So yes, it should work just fine for CPU speed. Interesting things. That should probably go up here. And the stuff to update direction. Should be up here as well. Right. So now, ooh, not quite done. There we go. So now what happens is that no matter how much you try, yeah, there's upsides and downsides. Dome is single-threaded, so having more cores does not help, unfortunately. There is no way for it to improve by having more CPU cores. But your game should play the same regardless of what CPU you play on, give or take rendering stuff. It's unfortunately very CPU bound in that sense. Because it's a 2D engine, it doesn't really need the extra oomph for a physics engine of that kind of intensity where you could offload to another thread. That isn't to say that you couldn't hack in something in the future if you wanted to. Anyway, fixed speeds. Cool. I'm gonna call it a night now because that was a difficult stream, quite long. Thank you for coming by. I hope that it was interesting watching me flail at performance. It's not my strong suit in the slightest, so most of the time you don't have to worry about it. Dome for 2D stuff is quite performant. Up to a point, there's some limits. But they're usually mitigatable. This is hard because it's trying to do a lot of 3D stuff. And, well, to give the illusion of 3D, and it complicates things. So, we're not built for that. But yeah, thank you for coming. Hope that you have a good one. I will be back next Monday, making an actual game with this engine, hopefully. This codebase was also available online in the Dome Examples repo. I'll be tidying it up a bit more over the weekend, so that it's a bit more user-friendly. That was what I was meant to do today. So yeah, have a good evening. Goodbye.